It is really nice to listen to the principal as well as our foreign guest. About India, one thing is to be told is people here have a philosophical approach to each and every subject. If a person wins something, he is philosophical about it. If he loses, then also he is philosophical about it. That makes people here maintain a very calm mental status, so to say. Normally, this philosophical approach to any subject makes a person humane, humble, and taking things as they come. And that is the basic approach of Indian people. That's why amongst diversity, the unity is held. It's a unity amongst diversity. And earlier, Burma was a part of British India. The British India at that time, maybe before 1947 or so, had Burma, Ceylon, Nepal, everything with it. Thereafter, after independence, some kind of partition, giving independence to other nations, liberty, etc. But in India, the unity is protected, as a principal told, that the language, because India, you may be surprised, has about 3,770 or 71 languages. That is the number of languages in India. I don't remember, 3,700 and odd. So all these languages were bound in one single language, that was English. And northern part of the country, by and large, people are speaking Hindi in different parts, different varieties of Hindi. And in the northeastern, some other languages. In the western, there are some other languages, but akin to Hindi. In south, we are basically what they call as Dravidian languages, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, and even Tulu for that matter. So, but to make them a combined unit, English helped a lot. And that is why even today, English has become the language of communication between people. Even though people may want, their linguistic minority, linguistic fanaticism, all those things may be there, but English continues to be the language of communication for Indian citizens. To keep them, in this, the institutions like St. Agnes, St. Aloysius, or any other institution, BEM High School was the first high school in Mangalore. Basel Evangelical Mission School. That was the first high school in Mangalore, started by German missionaries. And thereafter, the Ganapati High School, St. Aloysius Government College, all those things. And then in 1920, St. Agnes. By nature, Indian people, they were a little bit shy, and education of girls and women was a subject of concern for them, and they were not very much interested in that. In that matter, I appreciate the efforts done by the Jesuits, missionaries, and people from this institute, to start educating girls and then further expand the education to the women base also. This is how the educational institutions particularly played their role in building up the youth of the nation.
Thank you, and all Ananthakrishnan, sister, and other guests. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be here with all of you to exchange our thoughts. About India, she asked the question about education, and of course that particular things is moving towards education and values. Perhaps I may have to come to an end point where we are landing now. Once you are taken off, then where you land. You know, India is a very large country with the history of civilization, tradition, and values that has to withstood the test of time. See, 1,000-year-old tradition and values and culture is seen in India. And in the present time of 21st century, the real recognition of India among other nations, ahead of many of the other neighboring nations, as well as plenty of nations like from Middle East or Far East, all these things, India is ahead, going to a power, is the fact that our original foundation layers, mostly academicians or political leaders, whoever it is there, gave very much importance to education. Because of education today, any part of the world you see, USA, is UNO, Geneva, or UK, wherever you find, the top people are Indian educated, entrepreneurs, professional people who are working there. That is because we gave a lot of importance for education. And the changing scenario of the 21st century is from industrial society, we are moving to knowledge society. The knowledge has become the new resource. Your banker is there. Mr. Ananthakrishnan knows about the real resource for any development is finance. And finance as a resource was known. An earlier time, industrial revolution was there. All products were the major things that could sell. And there are banking, finance, etc. But this century is known as, according to Peter Drucker, father of modern management, knowledge is the new resource for development. How this knowledge transfers into economy, we are yet to see. We are not seeing exactly what we understand about this, but we are slowly realizing the knowledge people, knowledge workers, doctors, engineers, technocrats, advanced managers, all the people are dominating the world now because of the knowledge which they acquired in education. And India is also a part of it because we had basic education right from the beginning. And for this, we must compliment our missionaries, Sister of Charities and other Jesuits and all the things, who gave real contribution for education and healthcare to the country. As they were talking British, we won freedom from the British because we were looking for freedom for ourselves. But we seldom remember what they contributed to us. They did contribute for us, for the country. And two major things which they contributed for the country is, one is English language, second is the railway network. Both have helped us to integrate. And today, if, as Mr. Ananthakrishnan said, that there is a unity in diversity, one of the major factors of unity is the English language. Secondly is going and moving around the world through railway. Flights have come recently, but if you think Gandhiji first when he came to India, he wanted to study India, rural places, different places, so he went through the rail all over India too. Then he understood what is India. So railway network and English language is a great contribution, and giving a strong foundation to education by our earlier who founded our systems of education by the government level, private level. All this has made our image well recognized in India. To add to this, also our political values by which we became independent was by the contribution of so many intellectuals of the country. The India is known also, for example, take Mahatma Gandhi, father of a nation. He won freedom from British when there is violence taking all around with the new weapon, what is called non-violence. So the British could not act him with violence because his weapon is non-violence. So he used the non-violence, ahimsa, as a weapon and won freedom. And this kind of approach of leadership, of not harming others, giving more values to the people around, not only here but around the world, has given India a good image, which has evolved into the fitting the modern democratic system of development of the West, and with our inherent values. So Indians can be very proud of also the youngsters who are sitting there, students. You have got a great future because you are going to fit into the knowledge society of knowledge workers in the future. Maybe in whatever field you choose as a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, an administrator, a teacher, whatever it is there, you will have a place anywhere in the world with your knowledge. This is in brief. I thought I could conclude that, whatever you started that about India. Thank you.